not stuff that I think most people are interested in. You know what I mean? And
Okay, just 1 second.
yo.
Hi, everybody. I know nobody's really watching this because me and my infinite lack of wisdom forgot to announce it, but what the heck? I'll put it on some other stuff. And this is me, Save versus Capitalism, with big villainous of Overthrow Media, the world sex symbol that we have the honor of having on here today.
All right, hello everybody. I'm glad to be on here, and I guess I don't remember. Were we gonna chop it up about gun control? What were we gonna chop it up about? I forgot what the topic was. Honestly,
well,
be a bug.
I had a number of things I wanted to talk about. Actually, one, I wanted to tell you straight to your face, I love you, man.
I appreciate it.
Because I saw that video where you were being treated like crap, and I know it's not the same thing. But I remember when I was a kid and as a nerd, and everybody made fun of me because I wasn't into sports and all that sort of thing. And I hated it. And it's even worse because all my in-laws, I love them, but they're all into sports. And it's just, I just don't get it. I just don't get it, you know? And they treat you like crap, and that's wrong. That's just not right.
I mean, I think it's part of the problem is a big emphasis on capitalism as being it's so individualist that it's the only root of communal nature that a lot of people like experience. It's like team sports, right? And I'm very communal, but I don't like sports. I don't like team sports. You know what I mean? Unless the team sports is considered is called smashy, and then we all know about that sport. That's great. That's awesome. Like we're in the streets and we're holding it down, we're bugging with the police. We consider that sport if we want. But if it's like I was never really into that, and I was also denied the sports I like too. Because I'm not saying I didn't like any sports. Like I used to want to play soccer, but my grandma wouldn't let me. So, but I didn't want to play cool sports. I mean, baseball.
Wouldn't let you play soccer?
Nah, she wouldn't let me play soccer. She did not want me to be really active like that. I don't think. And there was. My grandma was a narcissist, to be a buck. Like, and
okay.
And was super abusive and shit. So like, there's a whole situation. I mean, I've been actually diving a lot into learning about narcissism and like the role. I actually always tell people I was the black sheep of the family, but it's actually the role that happened. There's a role for that it's called the black sheep or the scapegoat in like a narcissistic family structure. You know what I mean? And so it's like, oh, okay, that's what was going on with me. But I've been learning a lot just recently, driving into my own psychology and trying to deal with my own baggage, but also trying to like understand things that have happened to me and like, my family structures or family structure, I guess, if you call it that. It's really my grandma and me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, tangent there.
I don't want to. I don't want to sound like I'm copying you, but my one grandmother, yeah. I don't know how you are aware of the Irish and how nice they are when they have a little too much to drink. Apparently, my great grandmother was incredibly abusive to her, and she was nasty because of it. But
yeah, I mean,
what?
Oh, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
My mom and dad got us out of there. The only reason we stayed there is because I told you grew up in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah.
Well, when we came back, my dad couldn't find a job. And I couldn't figure out what the problem was because it's not like my dad was lazy or anything. But, okay, thank you. I'm going to butcher this and I apologize now. Alex Marquez Perez Muniz Diaz Porras Toro, thank you for being here with us. If I didn't totally screw up your name, or if I did, I apologize. But yeah. No, that's what. Yeah. So, and there's something else I wanted to tell you too. Don't, oh my God, what? Don't try to say your name. I already did, so it's a little late for that. But I wanted to tell you that as far as Breadville goes, you need to be a voice on there. I told him that, and I'm going to tell him that the next time I see him.
So one of the things I was actually proposing, it might be happening. It's like You know how they have the voiceovers of the animals? I kind of would actually want to do some shit like that just for fun, like have little videos of animals do like voiceovers of what's going on between them. You know what I mean? I think that should be fun. So we'll see what that happens. You know what I mean? Make a little like communist spin to it, little anarchist spin to it. You know? So
Oh yeah, no, I really think I firmly what I've been trying to do, but unfortunately I just don't have the money to do it. Is I don't know if you're familiar with any animation programs or anything like that.
I mean, not the programs, but I'm a little familiar with animation. I know how to function it. I actually made an animated music video at one point for one of my songs. It was like picture animation. So I get the concept, I get the different ways and styles of it, but I don't have like the super. I never had no programs. I don't know how to skill to do nothing super like 3D or nothing. But so.
We don't know which puppet, but he really should be on there. That's I told EJ that, and I'm going to tell him that. I'm going to tell him that till his ears bleed. I don't care. Um, but you're smiling when I say that. Why are you smiling?
Oh, we talked. Me and AJ been talking about it a little bit. There's a couple like drawings that I make, the little characters. Like one's a smiley face, and it's not just like a regular smiley face. You know, it's a little side. I can draw. People might not know that, but I can draw a little bit. And one's a teddy bear. So I was talking about those characters at some point, maybe being involved in Breadville at some point. You know, I mean, I could do the voices for both of them because they're both like representative of different sides of my character of who I am, right? Different pieces of my personality. So yeah. But.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely think. Well, the reason why I was mentioning it is because I've been going through after my wife passed away. I've been kind of going through a roller coaster of stuff, looking into things. And one of the things I discovered, and this was actually before she died, I told her about it. There's a program called Blender. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I think I've seen it when I was looking up how to animate stuff on my phone for some of the promo, but
Okay.
So I think I've heard of it. Yes.
The reason I'm mentioning it is because it's a free program. Anyone can download it. And although I tried to do some stuff on it, my computer's not powerful enough. You need like something that'll shut down the northeastern power grid to like actually do the animation when it comes to, because I mean the one computer I saw, it had like water cooled this, like 14 like cores or something like that or whatever it was. It was insane. It was nuts. But with that, you could do 3D animation. So in theory, and I even saw a guy, Austin McConnell. I went to go see his video. He had 48 hours, maybe like a 10-second scene. You know, no voices or anything like that. Just basic animation, a scene. A kid sees a monster. A knight finds the monster and kills the monster or something like this. Really nothing major, right? But he did it within 48 hours. And I hate saying this because I'm going to sound really culty when I say it, but I got to say it. The reason I got inspired to look for Blender was because there's a guy who does atheist podcast, not podcast, but on YouTube, Telltale, and he used to be in the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I'm familiar with it, but my computer's not powerful enough to actually do it. But they do it. They have like an animation in-house, and I'm thinking, well, they probably don't have people with degrees, so they must be able to learn it without it.
Oh yeah, man.
Like, imagine if we got like a collective of people together doing animation that was kid friendly, that allowed people to generate some money to put back into Revolution.
I feel it. I definitely see a place for a kid-friendly animation for sure. I couldn't be on y'all's team because I'd just go full South Park with it. We'd be like cussing and everything. They'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I could do the animation, but I don't think I'd be able to voice it because I'd be in the same camp with you. I was in the Army and worked in a warehouse. Yeah, I'm too dirty for that. My sister-in-law said, "You have to stop swearing if you want to see your niece again." Because that's a no-no. So I probably would not. I could do the animation, that would be fine, but not the voices. Not the
See,
voices.
here's the thing: is like, I'll be honest. If I ever have kids, they will be swearing by like five. They'll be like, "Fuck, shit, goddamn." They'll be like, "Your kids are so bad." I'm like, "No, I don't care about that." You know what I mean? They'll be very respectful, but as far as like, as far as
Yeah,
like cussing, no, they're gonna cuss up a storm. I'm not gonna punish them. I'm not gonna be mad at them. I'm not gonna give a fuck about that. I'm like, nah, I cuss. You want to cuss? I don't care. It's like, cause
yeah.
like, y'all know the history of like a lot of these cuss words. A lot of that shit was inner European racism. So they were like being racist against each other. And so some of these were just words in other languages. And a lot of these profane language and profane words come from that. And then some of that shit is a mystery. Like there's different rumors of where the word fuck came from, for example. And
Oh yeah.
some people say the pews of churches found under carnal knowledge. Other people say other things. None of it's verified. So I don't know with that one. But stuff like shit is literally different, just different languages for like defecation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's little things, but because of those cultures and regions being like hated by specific types of Europeans, then they would make it a profane language to use pretty much their language. You know, so that's where like all these cuss words came from. So it's like kind of funny when you.
You sound really smart. And I
I'm just
like
a nerd.
that.
I'm just a nerd.
No, I like that because whenever I find a smart person, I go, yay! Because I've dealt with so many people that weren't. It's like, yeah.
I mean,
Not
I'm a nerd. I learn about what I like learning about. If it's not my realm, I don't know it. Like, but I also know where my realm is and what it isn't. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm trying to play to be anything, know anything I don't know. But I also just nerd out. I mean, because I'm not like I'm not one of them PhD people. I don't have no degrees. I'm a fucking high school dropout that went to prison and read a bunch of stuff and then like learning. And I'm a
Oh
geek. So
yeah.
I learn about anything catches my interest. I'm down to learn about. If it doesn't catch my interest,
Yeah.
I don't see relevance to it. I don't care about it. I'm like, yeah, yes, that's all you.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Now the ultimate question to ask you, because this is what my channel is about, partially anyway, aside from the leftist politics. I don't suppose you're into D&D, are you, or anything like that?
I have an interest, but I was literally too nerdy for the D&D kids. Like I was too much of an outcast, so I never got into playing it. But I have hella interest in playing it, so I'm into it in theory, right? I played a lot
You
on
still
video.
got a chance to.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to play it in like actual tabletop. I was playing a lot of video games and stuff like that, but I never really could get into the actual playing because when I did go to like the clubs and stuff, they treated me like shit. So I was like, all right, I guess it's not gonna. I want to be around people who don't want to be around me. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
But
no, you have to understand. See, I'm old enough that when I was a kid, finding players was like, the El Dorado, pretty much. It's like, oh, I found somebody who actually plays. Yay! I just don't get that. I can understand saying, look, our group's full. That's one thing. But to sit there and say, oh, I don't want you because of whatever. No.
I mean, it just sounds like attached to be sometimes. You know what I mean? And I think it was not. I think that was more a race thing because there's like a bunch of white kids and they didn't want to have. You know what I mean? Unless it was the token black girl, for example, but that's because they were trying to sleep with her. You know what I mean? So like they want any girl's attention, so that's why they like
all
but then when it comes
players are trying to sleep with the girls, so that's just
so
that's
I mean so the overlook race because the overlook race if it's as long as it's not someone who's male or perceived as male. So but like I don't know. That's how like at least with Seattle, that's how very much it was. Like I never found any place that was I could go really play D&D like that. I mean, I could have played with them, but they were just and it was not in it's not like the South or something where they be direct. It's all like passive aggressive racism, hella microaggression and shit. So you're just like, fuck this, I'm the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? But I always wanted to play. I'm not gonna say like I got okay. So there's this. I did get into Magic though at some point because we had this place, this anarchist spot called Black Coffee, and we'd sit there and we had a crew of people play Magic together, and that shit was kind of fire. But it's not the same as D&D with the whole like just diving into it. But if it happens, it happens. I missed one. There was actually one I think today or yesterday. I can't. My days are blurring because I'm just working on this video over and over again. But so but I might hop into like this one server, folks, and hop on this game if I'm down. So I was really into the idea. I like the idea of D&D. I like the type of like swords and shields. I'm a nerd, you know what I mean? Fighting dragons and goblins and ogres, overlooking all the racist connotations that those descriptions had. You know, that always
Yeah.
seemed like hella cool. How like I was really into that shit, you know. I mean, it just seemed way cooler than today, right? People would like picking
Oh yeah. Yeah.
swords and magic to fight. It seemed like honorable versus motherfucking people taking, you know, drone strikes, and fucking M16s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like okay,
Yeah.
it's kind of.
Yeah. No. I get that. I totally get that. Yeah.
You know, you can find
Yeah.
treasure, go on an adventure. That shit used to seem cool to me. I mean, I was a
I
nerd
have.
though. I'm gonna be very clear. I was a fucking nerd, so of course it seemed cool to me because I was like, I.
There's nothing. You are welcome here, 100% when it comes to that. I
What's up?
want you to know that.
What's it called? Is the spellcaster the ones that are magic users with swords? Like that
Yep.
was the shit. I was like all about like that. I was like, yeah, super nerd. I like swords and magic. I'm not
Nothing
so
wrong with that at all.
Oh, but
Yeah, no. I've been running games since 1980. No, I mean I've been running since 1990. I've been playing since 1980.
okay.
So I definitely know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I've never. I've like played like 3 times. Got that has about
I,
like
sh-
12 times.
I should try to. I mean, I would love to get like a live stream going with that, but my internet is so total shit. Um, I don't think I could do that. I'd have to like do a recording off of Discord or something like that. But yeah, I definitely think you'd like that. I definitely could say I know what I'm doing. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but when you've been doing it for, let's see, 30 years, you kind of know what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, I have no clue how to really play it besides just like there's dice, there's like
Yes.
skill boards and like the points. I'm used to the point system
Yes.
because of video games, right? But
Yeah.
like I used to play Fallout and shit, so I get that stuff. I used to play RPGs as well on video games where you like skill up certain skills. You know what I mean? But yeah, I never really like. I guess it's just then you use your imagination, and then the dungeon master is the one that really has to have all like the fucking super skill to be able to depict the universe, right, or something like that. But man, interesting. Uh, have you ever gotten to Risk? I know it's like the worst game that for anarchists to play, but I love that shit. I'm not gonna lie, no cap.
It's funny. I don't know if you probably haven't been paying attention at all to this, but I've seen on peripheries. There's a guy who's a well-known DM called Matt Mercer of Critical Role,
Not.
and apparently he is a leftist. I mean, like he was playing Monopoly with somebody, and he said, I hate this game. I absolutely and utterly hate this game. He kept on complaining about it the entire. Can we make this like cooperative? They're like, no, you can't. Can we try to do this to sell it back to the people? No, you can't. It's like, but no, I mention that because
Do you know what's fucked up about Monopoly?
What?
So Monopoly was originally made to show how fucked up capitalism was, and then the Parker brothers took it and turned it into like a pro-capitalist game, right? But the whole thing, I think it was I can't remember which church it was, but one church was made the game literally specifically. I think it was the Quakers actually made the game to show that capitalism is fucked up and how it turns families against each other. Because if you play Monopoly, you families are legit snaking each other for like, and we're having and getting, and everybody play Monopoly, you get mad and shit and everything. You're just getting hot at each other and shit. And that was the point of the game to show how fucked up capitalism was. And then the Parker brothers bought it and turned it into a game that was like pro-capitalist, but it was still a game that was supposed to be really showing you how bad it is, but then it made it like good. It made it hyper good to snake your family members and friends to piss them all off, right? Like it's just a game, but it's kind of wild because it's supposed to be like a critique, not an endorsement. So
Yeah, yeah, they did change it. Yeah, I had heard. Apparently, that's out. Somebody actually found out the original game, and it's I don't know where it is, but supposedly it's out there somewhere. That'd
yeah.
be interesting to play.
What do we think about Ouija boards? This is made by the Parker Brothers too.
I don't do much of that supernatural stuff. Not really. I'm not into it.
I'm not saying that. I'm just like, just that they know that you guys know that, right? Like that, the Ouija board was made by the Parker Brothers. That was like a
No, I
game.
didn't know that.
Yeah, if you go buy the Ouija board, it's like a Parker Brothers thing.
Did
I don't know
not
if it's
know
actually
that.
made by them, but or if they stole it from somewhere else. That's the rumor that no, they stole it from ancient da 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 da. But I don't know if I buy that.
They just made it up.
Maybe they might have just made it up, or it might have been something else, and then they just took it like, oh, this could be cool if we tell them it's ghosts you're talking to. I'm not lie. I like supernatural shit, but I don't fuck with like divination personally. But I'll go ghost hunting though. If we can go to like some abandoned buildings that are supposed to be haunted, let's do it. See some spooky shit and post it up on YouTube. Go viral way easier than being a political commentator.
Yeah, I could see that.
Way easier.
It's getting cold in here. That's not a good sign from what I hear.
You know, we're at the point where people just use their phones too to like they use the apps, scan for the thing. Beep 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 beep. Like that's your cell phone. Nah, but sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you. My fault.
Alex made a comment. Is there likely to be a 3D animation collected on the net? There might be. I honestly don't know. I haven't really looked, but I hope there is. But yeah, I would because I think honestly the biggest problem the left has, other than the fact that they don't have me as the unicorn of leftist unity. I'm just joking, but they seriously don't have their own entertainment. Because I mean, like the extreme right wing has all that stuff in spades. We don't have anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's partly because the left is super prudish. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like you, like
Really?
yeah, I think that doesn't help with like building culture, right? Because then you put everything in such a small box at some point that you can't really build those like for example like hip hop. It's how hard it would be to be an overall politically accepted leftist hip hop artist. You know what I mean? Like I make hip hop, but I also know that I'm gonna piss off a lot of people on the left sometimes when I just am just being real, and that's just is what it is, right? I know there's sometimes
Yeah.
I like what I gotta say, and there's a certain type of hip hop, for example, that is accepted by the left for real. And that's like really soft, gentle. Like I like this cat I used to fuck with, Gabriel Teodros, for example, is like a great example. Like they have the soft, gentle type vibe, the so-called conscious hip hop, right? But
Yeah.
then you if you get any more rough and rugged than that, you know what I mean? I mean, Dead Prez kind of found a pocket, but rest people like Immortal Technique. I mean, he was out of pocket sometimes. Don't get twisted. I'm not saying like be Immortal Technique, but like those type anybody who's like a little rougher around the edges or isn't just trying to be like a conscious rapper, right? Like I'm not a conscious rapper.
Okay.
Like those things are hard to like hard for people on the left to digest because they're hypersensitive, right? So what I mean, I'm not necessarily going to be trying to make you feel good and calm. That's not the energy I'm trying to transmit. You feel me? And I'm going to be rough around the edges. And I'm still pretty digestible, I think, in my opinion. But so it makes it really hard, especially that I already see, like, given my background, how digestible I am for what I came from, right? It's going to be hard for other people to be building that type of, like, for hip hop. And then you talk about comedy, similar things. You know what I mean? There are different
Yeah.
elements that makes it hard to build that full web of like entertainment and stuff like that because we're trying to be um, so PC to some degree. And I'm not saying there isn't problematic things that we need to address, but I don't think it's like based off of kind of the prudishness that I feel like we're kind of building up. That kind of honestly reminds me of church a little bit, like to be a buck.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely. Yeah, because I think you need to be respect. See, the problem is the fact that I think basically what you're saying, if to put it in different words, you can't step on the wrong people's toes, but at a certain point, you're going to step on somebody's toes if you say something, and you're going to piss somebody off.
Yeah, the step on people's toes, but also it just could be over language people use. It could be a million different things, and it's just we kind of have this hypersensitive culture because I don't know. I've been very clear. Like I'm not a fan of PC. I think PC is problematic in a lot of different ways, but I do believe in fighting words, right? So like there's certain things you don't do, like that are really clear, like pretty much to everybody, and then there's things that like might offend people, but people need to get over just be offended sometimes. It's okay. It doesn't have to be such a big deal, but people focus so much energy on being offended, so much energy on like how do we address and police language and things like that. And I think that kind of closes the box of art down. So even if we're all on the same side generally, and like as far as our actual ideologies, people can't just be and be creative and be themselves because they're scared of being hyper scrutinized. They can't show their vulnerable, imperfect selves either because they're scared of like that coming out of being hyper scrutinized. You know what I mean? And being able to be like, oh, you weren't the person we thought you were. Like, I mean, we see this with the Kendrick album, for example. To use a pop reference, I'm like, bro, everybody's like scrutinizing and like, oh, but these other people are affected. Like, y'all relate to something that to somebody on the album who may have affected other people and it's fucked up, right? Cool. I think part of the point was though, you can accept the nigga only if they perform to a certain level. I think that was the point of that. You know what I mean? And like, so he picked somebody who was like an extreme, but yet still. And the thing is like, and I think that might seem like outrageous to some people, but if we're in an arena where people are talking about about abolitions or about all these things, but then that can't even be a conversation piece, so people almost losing their shit and like stop and fuck with somebody who they did fuck with because this person fucked with somebody else that they didn't fuck with, right? And now I have critiques of it for sure. Like, I mean, if like Kodak is like legit, like I don't know enough about all these things, and like I don't really fuck Kodak for multiple reasons, but if Kodak is some legit like rapist going around, yeah, don't be buddy with the rapist, cool, that's real. But at the same time, when you look at exactly what people are doing, it's like their business and making music and art. The more we tighten it, the more like we bring that in and not open to like people not being perfect and people being from edges or also being open to other perspectives, right? And now generally I wouldn't fuck with Kodak personally, but that's just me though. I wouldn't fuck with Kodak for multiple reasons that I don't fuck with that motherfucker does. But at the same time, the way people reacted and the reaction to like Kendrick specifically, not the reaction to Kodak, the reaction to Kendrick having something to do with Kodak, was it speaks volumes and about like what I mean by like the prudence of it and the churchness of it, because it seems like some church gossip shit, right? Oh my God, can you like yo, can we actually think about how we maneuver in those ways? And I don't know, I just have a lot of critiques of that, and people are gonna be like talk about privilege and all this stuff, but I'm very clear. I'm a queer nigga from Section 8, and yeah, there's ways I do have privileges, but like also a lot of people when they critique someone who have more privilege of than maybe be a little self-reflective sometimes. I think there's a lot of that. Now, critiquing Kendrick is definitely fair game at all times because he definitely has at this point a lot of privilege, but also he is coming from a space where most of the people he grew up with would not be accepted by this society that calls themselves leftists. They talk about them being pro-black, but they would never accept most people who would fall under the moniker of nigga. You know what I mean? Not just black, but nigga, like a nigga, like from the hood, like from the streets, from not even just from the hood, but from the streets, from the bottoms, right? And anyways, I'm ranting. I'm going on a whole tangent.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with ranting here. That's kind of why I wanted to have this space, because I know a lot of times people, if they go on EJ's channel or whatever, there's a specific something that they necessarily talk about. I mean, I do like talk about specific stuff, don't get me wrong. But if somebody needs to rant, hey, go for it. Doesn't hurt my feelings at all. And one of those things that somebody said to me that really kind of not rings true, but kind of hit me. It's like, maybe you should listen to the people that have been doing this longer.
Yes, and yes, and so yeah, I've been doing this a long time, but also when we've been doing this a long time, we can't get a big ego and not listen to the youth though too, because the youth be having
Okay.
ideas we didn't have. Just like trust me, when I first got started, man, there's so many older people like you need to listen because we've been doing it longer. But I'm doing it better. So what does that tell you? And
Yeah.
and and that was still true then. And sometimes in some places with the youth right now, that is true with them. They're doing it better than we did. Like shit, okay, bet. And I might have some knowledge
Yeah.
to be able to share that can swerve them from certain mistakes or something because I've been doing this for 13 years. I've been organizing, being a revolutionary for 13 years, moving on 14 years, right? So I can be like, oh, these mistakes you might want to avoid, but they might have ideas I didn't have. You know what I mean? So I think it's a mutual back and forth. Like there needs to be like you should definitely be down to listen to people older that have been doing it longer, but also vice versa. You know what I mean? Especially when it's younger
Yeah.
folks. I think it's a little different sometimes when people come in like 35s, they first start organizing. I think I think it's hard to listen to them sometimes because when it comes to those type of situations, when you're walking at that point, you're walking from point of you're already of 35 years of different experiences and indoctrination that you walk in thinking you know better, and then you don't really know because you haven't had that experience in that realm. You know what I mean? Like there was this, there's a bigger rapper I know. I'm not gonna put a name out there. That we used to be cool, but like he came into like the uprising, like he knew, like he had to plan how we gonna make things happen, right? And it's like, bro, you don't have any experience in this. He's like, but I've been gangster, nigga. And so I've been a revolutionary for 13 years. Does that make me like? Does that make me the gangster's gangster now? Because I was the revolutionary shit. That doesn't make they don't necessarily transfer over, my guy. Like they just don't. That's not how that works. You know what I mean? You experience knowledge from all these different experiences. However, so when older people come in, I feel like sometimes they bring that type of energy, and that can be really problematic when they're brand new and they don't even recognize. Like, no, you brand new, bro. You don't know what you're doing in this. This is not your element. You know what I mean? Everybody has different elements. You know what I mean? So if I went some gangster shit, all of a sudden, like that ain't necessarily my element. But I mean, honestly, sometimes I'd be a little bit quicker to swim in that element than they be in my element because I was still halfway in that when I was in the streets when I was younger, right? So like I wasn't necessarily to their level, but still somewhat. So those things like what is your actual experience tells and dictates what you're gonna have knowledge over. But at the same time, a lot of times, like again, people our age coming in late. I'm not saying it's not important. Come in, please. Come in. I'm not saying don't come get involved, but also be humble about it, right? Because if you know you haven't been doing it, don't come and think you know because you're CEO, so you can do it better. Nah, nigga. No. I'm a tech giant. I can do it. No, you can't. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You know what you're doing in that realm. And if you want to bring some tech knowledge to us, then dope, because you're gonna know that way better than any of us.
Yeah.
But you ain't gonna know what it's like to be revolutionary. You ain't gonna know what it's like to put that
Yeah.
work. But the
Yeah.
thing is, a lot of times what they lack though that the youth have is this insight that you have when you're a youth and this stuff and this willingness to push things that we kind of lose a little bit as we get older. I mean, I'm immature, so I've kept a lot of it. But you know, no,
At least you're being honest. At least you're being honest.
No, I'm playing. But here's the thing: is like the youth come with specific things, so they'll come from. They also understand. Youth will always understand now better than we will.
Yeah,
they will always understand now better than we will because we're coming with all this history up to now, and now can get lost on us. Especially the more you gain. The more you gain privilege-wise, the more you gain resources, the more divorced you're gonna be from understanding the now. And youth is completely 100% affected by the now because what's going on now is what they're running into now. Like when they're about to hit at 18, they're gonna hit that 21, they're gonna do all those things. They're running into the now and the reality of now much more than most of us, at least. Maybe some of us get it, but like most of us. And so they'll have a lot of really adequate assessments that we should be hearing even as elders or older folks because they're seeing the now really clearly in a way that we cannot no more. You know what I mean? So
and they're going to be living longer than us, more than likely.
Yeah.
So
but
they have more of a vested interest.
Also remember where we used to be at their age too, like and how we saw things that the elders didn't see because we were seeing the now clearly because we're running into the now. That's the wall that's smacking us in the face at that moment. You know what I mean? So we're really clear about it. Where they're kind of like sitting on top of the wall because they, you know, we're sitting on top of the wall. I mean, metaphorically, of course. I mean, shit's still rough.
Oh no, yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
and
I think,
I think that's a good thing to, but I just don't understand. See, part of it, maybe it's because of the fact that I didn't grow up in the United States, but this idea that you know everything, especially the I'm a white guy, I know everything. Now, I'll admit I'm above average intelligence, so I'm pretty smart. But recently, I don't know what it was. It was something that happened. And I realized that I, as a white guy, have no fucking clue what that's like. And it really pissed me off because I kind of rely on my intelligence a lot. And the fact that that wouldn't allow me to figure it out, I want to bang my head against a wall. But then I realized it's just not my experience. So I'm not going to know.
facts. I mean, some things we can't know. I mean, and the thing goes multiple ways. You know what I mean? Like, but there's some things we can't know, and that's really important to realize, right? Like, so I'll never know what it's like to be a cis black woman ever in my life. It's never gonna understand what that experience is gonna be. I will say though, however, like vice versa is true. You know what I mean? Being a nigga in this world is different. It has its own problems that isn't shared, as well as it has its own privileges that isn't shared. You know what I mean? So it's like, um, but so we'll never be able to see those experiences fully. We can try to empathize. That's what empathy comes in, right? We can empathize and feel what we can try to feel what it is to be in those experiences. We can listen and hear and care, right? But we'll never really know. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Never,
no, we won't.
so, and that goes across the board, or that goes even for individuals as well as collectives, right? So, like,
Yeah,
I'll never know what it's like to be you. You'll never know what it's like to be me, and vice versa. We'll never. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I said
yeah.
vice versa. I just clearly described vice versa. But those, those things are really, I don't know. It's a lot. There's a lot to think about. I think one of the things, and now I'm gonna be very clear. I'm not an atheist. I'm not a Christian either, but I'm not an atheist. But I think some of the things that I think we as a people need to spiritually grow on. Now,
Oh, I'm sorry.
whatever you want to consider spiritually grow, uh, you want to consider it. But like whether it's like your character or whether it's like whatever, I think there's things we need to like be able to have a bigger amount of empathy and understanding of what we do and do not understand. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, my cat is losing it in the other room because there's a cat outside. So I apologize if it sounds like a cat sounds like somebody's trying to chew on its tail because that's yeah, she's not happy. Um,
that should
can't
be.
do much about that.
Oh.
But
Yeah, she boss. That's what she's saying.
well, she was from a home. She was from a home where she got beat up by other animals, not on purpose, because my wife, her friend, said, "Can you take this cat? You don't have your cat anymore," and we did. Um, and for the most part, she's been fine, except for the past couple weeks. Somebody moved in, and it sounds like my cat's is possessed by a demon. But hopefully, in about 15 minutes, that'll cut out, or maybe in a few minutes. I don't know. But I think your camera's better than mine because mine looks like crap. You
So
use the phone?
yeah, I use my phone.
Yeah, that
So
explains it.
if you have a phone, all you gotta do is download the iRune app on both the phone and the laptop, and you can use it. That's what I do, and also part of it's trying to have the lighting. I guess is the main thing. Like if I turn
Okay.
my like for example, if I just turn this off for a second, the quality like drops significantly.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But turn it back on,
Okay.
and it ups the quality. So a lot of stuff is lighting. You'd be surprised what you can do with lighting.
Okay.
I got and I got a very simple lighting
Yeah.
setup. My shit is not like intricate. This is cheap Amazon lights. I think I paid like 35, $40 for 3 of them. You know what I mean? So, I need better equipment for real, but I try to do the best. You know what I mean? I need a new laptop.
My equipment is my laptop. That's it, and the light up here. That's all I've got.
See, I
So
ordered
you're
a new
one up on me.
See, I ordered a new laptop when I was like staying in Micanopy, and then they sent it to the wrong address, and it took forever to get a refund. And by the time I got a refund, I was in this situation with the fucking license shit. So now I can't even afford to get it anymore. Despite it, I've had to spend it on the tour instead of on the equipment, which sucks because I was literally trying to raise money for the equipment first, the tour, but because of like just being stuck in this one place, not being able to move or work because I can't even DoorDash right now at all. So everything it comes from like YouTube or yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got to live off of and what I've got. So unfortunately, I came for the laptop I would just actually had purchased at that point, and they had to because they fucked it up. But all the same time, if they didn't fuck it up, I wouldn't have had the money needed right now, unfortunately. But you know, I don't know. I just take these L's, just keep pushing. You know what I mean? Hopefully, I'll build big enough that I can bring enough resources. I can up my equipment. You know what I mean? I can have different angles. I want angles, honestly. I want all the different, like, you know, when the videos, I get all different angles so I can, like, you know, get it all popping for everybody.
There is a question in the chat. Alex says, "Whose advice? What advice would you give on studio equipment?"
What do you mean by studio equipment? Like to shoot or videos or for music? I guess is the question. So most of my shit, like my sound right now, was based off of music first, right? Because I started making music before I started doing YouTube too seriously. In fact, if you go to the first video I had, it was a video of a show, an in-person show that we were doing, and it was like a freestyle type thing. And so, like, I made this originally for hip hop. You know what I mean? I kind of just branched off because I originally needed to build my brand a little bit. Hold up.
He's saying who to listen. He could give you some advice on it because he's got some information. Or is there somebody you'd recommend?
Whose advice do you get on studio equipment? Okay. I don't know. I just YouTube it, honestly. A lot of different people. I forget some of the channels. I used to get some stuff off of Smart Rapper. And then I had other channels that look specifically for the equipment. Smart Rapper would give me different ideas, and I think that's how I found about iRune, maybe either that or something else. I don't know. Honestly, I'd be having I get into like looking for a specific thing, and they end up in YouTube tunnels to like different people, so I can't necessarily remember exactly who I learned what from. But it is, if you look up like how to have a better camera, for example, using your cell phone, or how to use your cell phone as a camera, you'll find like iRune, which is what I do all the time. I use a cell phone as a camera, whether I'm talking about through iRune to be able to connect it to my computer so I can stream, or if I just use the phone by itself and the camera to get like that and some lighting. But I just put up Film Right's a good one, for example. The old Film Right stuff especially is good.
Okay.
Network was just wondering about you. So Film Right was one of them. I remember that I went to, but it's the old Film Right. So when they were still like poor, because their stuff is their content's kind of changed as they've changed. You know what I mean? As they got bigger budget. But yeah, there's a couple. There's a couple just places on YouTube that I get it from. So I'm trying to remember, but a lot of it's been a long time. You know what I mean? So and the blue. I decided to get a blue because I don't know, because people were talking about it at the time and being like the best for music, and I don't know, I just kind of stuck with blue thus far. I've like had the first mic for years, and then I got this one recently when that one started to go, which is
I just wanted to put this in to get just because that's something I found out. There's a guy called DIY Perks, and he came up with the ultimate like soundproofing thing for a studio, and you would not believe what the best stuff was. Used towels, like you could get it like a charity store.
I mean, the one that's supposed to be really good too is the moving blankets. You know what I mean? They're supposed to be really good.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but the
yeah.
thing is, like, I mean, a part of the thing is what I want to emphasize as far as like the sound. It depends on what you're doing, but specifically with your music, um, it's sometimes what it's more important about your psychology than anything else, right? So whatever. So I will never use blankets ever again, ever. You know why? Because feel and perform better if they're not there. You know what I mean? I feel better,
Really?
but yeah, because it's about your psychology too. I mean, as a musician though, I mean, I can't speak for other things, but that's as a musician. You know what I mean? You like the your atmosphere is crucial in how good you perform, right? If you feel like you're just really janky, it makes you feel super janky and like you're not a real artist, you're gonna have a worse performance. And I think the performance is better and spend more time in mixing is better than just like doing what's more efficient. Unless that drives you. If you're like, yeah, I'm coming from nothing, I'm gonna make this happen, and that makes you more, then do it. But like if it doesn't,
Yeah,
prioritize your psychology first. And that's what I say. So
yeah,
like I'd rather have like a little bit of soundproofing here there and like some good lighting or something like that that makes me feel some vibe and maybe some art on the wall over like focusing on that. And then secondary is like, so if you can do cheap shit to make it sound better, cool. But if that fucks with your delivery, if it fucks the way you feel while you're trying to deliver your music, then I'd say just F it. Don't put that up and like, you know, have a better delivery first and foremost. You know what I mean? That's my experience. And don't stand right by a wall that's going to reflect and bounce around a lot. That's another thing too. So yeah,
okay.
but
Did yeah,
you can
go
also
ahead.
throw a mattress on the wall too if you for another Jimmy rig as well. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My wife, she did singing when she was younger, and yeah, she very much was in the opinion you got to be feeling good to make a good performance. If you're not, then it doesn't really matter what you've got.
yeah, yeah, exactly. The vibe is everything. The way you feel and the performance is going to deliver it. You're going to hear it in your voice. You know what I mean? Uh, yeah. So yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I was like the first thing, the most important thing to me of wanting to see successful, honestly, is my music. YouTube. Honestly, I want to see everything work, but YouTube is a stepping stone for me. I'll be a buck. I eventually want to be doing music and making documentaries and films. Like, and less just talking head, less the talking head. But I'm talking head now, so it's okay.
Understandable. You don't want to keep on doing the same thing forever.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and these are all stepping stones too, because I had a goal, right? Like I wanted to make my music pop. I wanted to make films and documentaries, like short films and stuff like that. And like have them like I don't even want to make like big mainstream films, but I want to make stuff that could pass for something that was made with a high ass budget and has a message, and then be able to show it at like smaller theaters and shit, and like be independent that way and be able to make funds that way, sell DVDs and stuff, and then also make music and make documentaries that are a little bit bigger. So want to be a cult hero, man. What's going on? And a revolutionary, you know what I mean? Revolutionary first, cult hero second, but cult hero.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I was telling EJ, I'm like, I told my wife, I said, you can't die on me because you do realize that's the evil villain backstory. You know that, right? The wife dies, the husband gets all mad, then goes off and does stuff. And he's like, that's fine. I'm like, no, that's not fine. But yeah. Oh my God. Now I've been looking into speaking of, on one of the other things I've been looking into was I was telling EJ about this, and I said, I think one of the biggest problems we have as leftists is we can't use any traditional platform to actually do our stuff. That is a very big problem. Every time we try it, we get shut up by somebody, either a corporation or other people or whatever. Mainly corporations because they don't want our message to get out. But I've been looking into the idea of trying to design a social media platform from scratch.
I mean, that's a big mission. I think
Yeah.
I
It's
think the
bigger than I thought it was when I started.
Yeah, and the biggest problem is even after you get it designed right, like how do you get it popular? And I think that's the problem because you got to remember some of these places just threw money into it or got lucky. Like, I
Yeah, the
mean,
thing is though, this wouldn't be for everybody. This would strictly be for leftists.
hmm,
We
okay,
need
I mean,
our own platform. But the biggest problem I'm hitting, and I'm going to need a genius, but the biggest problem I'm having is security. That's the biggest number one problem I've got. And the best security out there is one I don't want to use. And that's uh, crypto thingy, whatever it is.
1 second.
The
I'm still here.
mining. Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, I'm still here. I'm just gonna grab some water, so I'm gonna turn this off while I can still hear
Oh,
you
okay.
though.
That's fine. Yeah,
I
no, I mean, but that's my biggest problem. But we desperately need our own platform because using like even YouTube and stuff like that, eventually they're going to cut us off.
See, the problem is like if we just have it for leftists, right, then it will limit our reach. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. It's like because it'll only be the people who already are on the same tip. And that's cool if it's like a LinkedIn type situation, but if it's like a YouTube situation, I definitely want to reach outside our already existing networks. You know what I mean?
No, I'm talking about getting us using the internet as a way to get us together on a solid platform.
Oh
Yeah, it
yeah,
would
so like
be like a
LinkedIn.
YouTube. There's already stuff out there. There's like camaraderie.co, I think, or something that you can do your own videos and stuff on. I'm talking about like us communicating between each other specifically.
Um, yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'd be just be flooded with cops.
Probably.
Shit, it'd be probably like 10 cops with 1,000 accounts. For real.
Maybe we could get them to arrest each other and leave us alone.
Yeah. I feel like something like that happened before. Where they stung. I remember seeing a news article where not a news article, but like a news video on where they like stung each other. They were trying to do a thing, but they just like had bad communication, so it ended up being a sting operation against a sting operation, and like I can't remember where that was or what happened, but like I literally
Oh, I can
remember
see it
seeing.
happening.
Yeah, no, I remember. No, it happened. I'm pretty sure it happened. I'm 99% sure because I remember seeing like a little. They're reacting to a news clip. Like someone was reacting to a news clip where that happened, and I was like, but I'm not really surprised though.
Yeah, because when I was in Saudi, there was on Aramco the before it got nationalized by the Saudis. Um, the there's some Americans there, and there were Americans who would make alcohol illegal in Saudi Arabia, and unfortunately, one of their stills blew up,
Shit.
and the Saudi cops came by, and basically the cops were like, "It must have been a lawnmower," because they just didn't want to deal with it.
Shit.
So basically, they let it slide because they just didn't want to deal with it.
Shit. I mean, we need more not wanting to deal with the ass pigs out here. Shit, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
See, because the only time they don't want to deal with it is when kids are getting killed. Then they don't want to deal with it. But
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I find that amazing. It's like we need to have more cops to do what? Stand around
bro,
because
people
they're
like
not doing anything useful.
they're
And what
cowards, and
gets me
nobody wants
off,
to acknowledge that.
I wish I'd taken a picture of it. I want to kick the. I hate that. I live down. I won't say the business, but there's a business not far from me that right after Uvalde had like how like businesses will have these like lettering things on the front of their business to announce stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It said, "Well, selective policing is better than no policing."
Right.
Are you kidding?
Because they selectively do it in their selective benefit. That's why they say that. If you're not the one being selectively benefited, then it's not so great.
Well, he's a business owner, so he knows because EJ and I both. He had a business that got robbed, and I years ago ended up buying a business. I had family help me get the money together to buy a business from somebody, and just before we bought it from him, it got robbed, and um, the police came by, they checked it out, they did all that stuff. But when I got my radio stolen from my car here in Arizona, my father-in-law was like, "Yeah, don't worry, don't even bother calling the cops. They're never going to find it. Besides, your radio never worked anyway, so they did you a favor."
Man. Yeah, I don't know. Police never helped me. That's the thing is like when people, I love when like back in the day, especially when when people would like ask like, well, what would you do without police? I was like, I've never called the police on somebody in my
Yeah,
fucking life, or
yeah,
like, and I've had guns put in my face. I've been fucking shot at. I've been robbed at gunpoint, and I ain't never called the police on somebody in my life. You know what I mean? I've never been like 911 unless I'm calling for a fucking ambulance. You know what I mean? That's the only time I'm calling.
yeah,
Fuck you mean like unless I'm calling for an ambulance to pick somebody up to take them to the hospital because they're hurt. That's the only way I'm dialing
yeah,
911. You feel me? So like when people used to try to hit me those gotchas, I'd be like, bro, are you kidding me? You gotta be fucking joking. Because at the end of the day, there's no benefit in that for any of the people that lived like me. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Like not even just look like me, lived like me. With the cops ain't in our favor. And the thing is like but there's some people that the cops are always in their favor. So that's all I know. So I think the cops they think there must be something wrong with us because they get treated differently instead of like looking around because all you had to do
yeah,
to realize that you're wrong was look around. But you know, shit. Um, that's also the same thing that happened in Occupy with all these privileged people coming. They were really shocked when the cops were abusing them. It's like, yeah, because you were on the other side your whole life, fool. Like, there's some people who live our whole lives on this side of it. So we're not shocked at all. Like, we know. We already know how these fools are.
yeah.
And they,
I think these conservatives, or should be reactionaries. That's the appropriate word to use in this environment.
it's not just
Or we're going to
conservative,
get
it's
a
liberal too.
they're going to get a real rude awakening. Now, I'm assuming you heard about that ruling where the border patrol within 100 miles of the border can do whatever they want, pretty much.
Yeah, it's all that.
Yeah, there's some conservatives are getting really rude awakening here soon. When suddenly it affects them, they're going to go, "Hey, wait a minute, it
I mean,
affects me."
I'm just saying the liberals ain't no different.
Oh
Ain't no different.
no, no, I know some people who are liberals, and I'm just like, I talk to them, and I just like, I just want to, I can't even talk to them anymore.
And here's the thing is what drives me crazy about like both liberals and conservatives, they really perceive like there's just these two sides. I'm like, no, we can just not agree with either one of you motherfuckers. The fuck are you talking about? Like y'all are both ridiculous. And the fuck. These are the biggest parties and it just reflects on America poorly. And that's you wonder why people think America's stupid. Because y'all are the examples. So people, of
Yeah,
course, think they're stupid because y'all are dumb as fuck. And I don't mean stupid as
yeah,
be clear. When I say, that's what I mean by like what some people get fat if someone come at me for saying stupid. Like as somebody who has learned disabilities, stupid is not about ignorance. Stupid is not about your ability to learn. Stupid is about the fact that you can neglect information intentionally to fit your ideology and not take in those facts because you don't want to. And that's
yeah,
when I say stupid, that's what the fuck I mean. That's what I always meant to be my whole life. So I don't know. I don't think to be clear, but this, yeah, they're ridiculous. They're redonkulous, and so
oh yeah,
that's why it's like an elephant in the ass, bro. That's to me. That's I don't care about no elephant in the ass. They in our favor. But
yeah. I wanted to mention this because it's something that I didn't realize until years later. My dad was on a number of juries, and he was on one jury where there was a shock young African American man was accused of assaulting somebody. And he was in the jury room, and everybody wanted to say he was guilty. There's only one small problem. The young man was accused of taking this bag of bowling of where is it? Uh, Ball bearings the size of my fist, and they were all solid. Hit somebody over the head with, and quote, only gave them a concussion. My
Possible.
fa- my father took that bag, lifted it about a foot above the fairly thick oak table that they were all sitting at, dropped it and snapped it in half. The table, I mean. My father then turned to all of them and he told them, you still think he's guilty now?
I mean,
Yeah, he got off.
I'm glad he got off. I do want to say you can still be guilty of that. But also, fuck that. Prison's not the answer for that. Period. And like why that happened. But if it did happen, you know what I mean. But
Yeah,
I will say, as someone who's been in brawls, you'd be surprised. You can take way harder, and it depends. Like if you just stand there, then no. But if you move, then yeah. I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying that they did or didn't do it. I don't care. I don't think people should be in prison either way. That's not the answer to
yeah,
this situations like this. But I'm just because I'm argumentative, I guess. I do say like you'd be surprised what people's bodies can take. Be like, oh, where's this
oh yeah,
table sitting there? I'm sitting there ready to get plunged into versus a human moves around. You know what I mean? I survived some crazy
yeah.
ass shots. You know what I mean? Because I moved, and also I don't know. We'll turn the camera back on. If y'all can't tell, I have a really big head. So also that's helped a few times. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean?
Hey, nothing wrong with that. No, but what bothered me the most was if that guy were white, I don't think he would have been in that courtroom. I honestly don't think he would have.
For real. Hey, like I'll tell you a story. Actually, I was just talking about. Uh, so I had a homie. Uh, I'm gonna put her name out there. I mean, I guess I'll put her name out there because it's a really common name. I had a homie named Mark at one point when I was younger, and basically he walked up on like these three white kids and told them to run their pockets, and he took them for a total of $3. Right? He did 6 months for stealing $3 from them. Now, one thing I want to point out to you: how many? And they're both kids. Like he's 14. They were like they were ranges. They're brothers. So it was like one was like
Yeah,
13 or 14 around the same age as Mark. One and the two were younger. There was one was like 12 and one was like 10 or some shit, right? But took $3 from him. But here's a question. How many white kids robbed other kids, took other kids for lunch money, and didn't get strong arm robbery charges? I'm just saying. But my
yeah,
homie he takes it for like it's literally equivalent taking him for lunch money, $3, bro. And he did six
yeah,
months in prison. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. This kid is doing
yeah,
6 months of prison for something that doesn't. He just took some kids for $3. Like, is
yeah.
that like, yeah, it's technically robbery, I get it, but like, is that really something you want to do to a
It's
kid for
three
taking?
bucks.
Yeah, like, yeah, kids jack kids for lunch money all the time, but then, um, kids jack people for lunch money all the time, but then like it's like ain't nothing happened to him, but all of a sudden now it's a black kid and it's checking some white kids for $3 is okay.
Yeah,
And now white kids with money and privilege too, and a black kid with none. I think honestly you should probably just give them a pass on that. Be like, stay away from my kids, cool. And and the
yeah,
parent just talks to him like you should probably just give him a pass on that because y'all have hella wealth and he doesn't, and he took him for $3 of three hamburgers at McDonald's. Let's be real. That's what he did 6 months for, and that doesn't make sense. Like even with him being what people generally consider dead in the wrong, which whatever, that doesn't make sense. That you should fuck up his
yeah,
record and stuff. Like his record's fucked up forever. He's super square right now. He went to college and everything, and still, last time I checked, the cat still lived in Section 8 because despite his degree, it wasn't helping because he had a record. And you fucked up this cat's life who was just going through some shit. He was just
yeah,
going through some shit. Like he's not even who he is. He's super square. Like if you met this cat, you'd be like, what? Super square, right? You fucked up
yeah.
his life over that choice, but then how many white kids made that choice and you didn't fuck up their lives? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
that took someone's lunch money. Like, come on, man. It just don't make sense.
Yeah.
It don't make no damn
Yeah.
sense.
No. No. And the part that bothers me the most about that is, let's say he's 70 years old. Not 70. Let's say he's my age, 50. Okay. He wants to get a job somewhere. That felony is still on his record
Yeah, he's
at
considered a
50.
violent felon.
Yeah.
He's considered a violent felon. Like, dog, come on, bro. Some kid shit.
Yeah.
Kids do that shit all the time. You take it home, give them a fucking spanking. You discipline them. You maybe at worst suspend them from school. And probably shouldn't do that because it's not even really helpful. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
for real, I mean, especially motherfuckers don't want to be at school. I really should suspend me from school. I figured out a trick. You know what I mean? I'll just be like, go cuss out the teacher and get suspended and go home for 2 days. It's a trick. I just like, oh, okay. I want to be here anyways. Fuck this. I'll do it again and again and again. Get the fuck out of school. And I never get truancies because I'm getting suspended. I'm out fucking skipping. So I had a trick.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, also like I just call them racist when they're being racist too. That also gets me suspended too. But sometimes I'm allowed to just be an asshole. I'm not gonna lie because I didn't want to be at school. But and those things like that doesn't even work because, like I said, when you send them home, like I don't have to be at school. If I don't like school, because what I can do is get suspended. It encourages like bad behavior. Honestly, like, as far as like me being disrespectful to teachers, like I remember that it was encouraged that not only the teachers sucked to me, but then as I got older and I already knew the teachers sucked to me, and then I learned they suspend me so I don't have to be at school where I hated. I just go in there and like be argumentative and get suspended. You know what I mean? Like and like a lot of times people probably would have loved it because I was on some Huey Friedman type shit, you know what I mean? Saying but with a little more profanity. But those things weren't even functional. But anyway, so I'm going on suspension for no reason. My tangent. But the thing is, like, incarcerating him was not the move. And yeah, it didn't happen at school. But like again, if it did happen at school and if some white kid, ain't nobody sending him to prison. Ain't nobody sending him to Echo Glen. Like it just doesn't. That was wild to me, and it still is wild to me because like that's what they do. That's the answer to shit for people. Some people. That's why like I don't know carceral anything. Whether you're talking about carceral feminists, or you're talking about carceral black. I don't know what you call them, but like anti-racist, which doesn't make sense either. Neither one of those. None of those concepts make sense. You believe in incarceration, you're not against the system at all. You're for the system of patriarchy, you're for the system of white supremacy, for all of that. But carceral folks just don't make sense because at the end of these outcomes, there's not really a time when slavery is a good outcome or a good deterrent or a good way to be able to convince somebody to not do wrong. In fact, what you're going to do is you're going to traumatize them, make them more likely to have outbursts and have a much more stressful life that is full of being like a pariah, or not a pariah in a real way, not the way that the cops feel entitled to the pariahs, but like the fact that you're not going to be able to get a job. You're going to be like blackballed from hella shit because you made some bad choices, especially when you were a fucking kid. And I don't know. That just blew my mind. Like not just for him.
It's designed. It's designed. You have to have the perfect life. You have to have family that can bail you out. And if you're not, well, that sucks to be you.
Yeah, facts. And the thing is, like, I've had people tell me that they don't think having family is a privilege. I'm like, you're stupid. Like, that's dumb. Why would you believe that it's not? I've literally had people tell me that. I'm like, yo, if you think we're on the same level when you had a nice family and then you don't think that nice family is a privilege, you wildin'. That's like one of the biggest privileges. You wildin'. You know what? You haven't grown up when your family don't give a fuck about you, clearly. Because if you did, you would know that shit's rough. That shit shapes your life forever, and you have to learn to adapt to everything else. But without that, and then also there's the economic shit, which is I'm just ranting. We can change the subject if we want to. So
hey. Tangents are what my channel are for. But yeah, no, I mean I mean you need to do something with somebody who has different behavior, but shoving them in a place, scaring the crap. I think somebody said once that the Soviets actually came to the United States and looked at our prison system. And they turned to it and they said, we understand you breaking people down, but you never build them back up again. You just break them. Why would you do that?
Man, well, I mean, I think there's levels of that. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think the Russians would be wrong too, because you can what science has shown is you can break people, but you can't rebuild them. You know what I mean, there's some people that can rebuild themselves, but you can't control that. You can definitely break people, but that's all you can do. So that's why this is. I think America knows that 100%. So that's why they just do is break people. And also, let's be 100. Prison serves its intended purpose. Its intended purpose is to enslave people and extract labor and resources and tax money and all of that, right? And then to then reinsert them back into communities, even more harm, so that they can justify the process of that slavery and
Yep.
perpetuate that. Now, I'm gonna be very clear though. I'm gonna be very clear. Those things have to be sustained, right? So, what they do to sustain that outside of prison is, labeling you things like felon, making it hard for you to get employment, so you stay desperate and stay, make it hard for you to get into housing, so you stay desperate. You know what I mean? So that you're the most likely possible to reoffend. They strip certain rights away, like voting or like bearing arms, bearing arms. I'm gonna say it again, um, so that they put you in a situation. So if you feel like, for example, threatened, that if you can go to get an arm to try to protect yourself in case something happens, not to go do something fucked up, but in case something happens, then you're just shit out of luck, and you're get caught with that, and you're back in prison again. They're getting more free labor from you. I mean, people. I mean, people really need to research into what prisons really do and what it's for. And they need to listen to ex-cons too, like for real, like especially ones that like aren't Uncle Tom ended up, because some people get out and try to be Toms because they figure if they can be Uncle Tom, then they might not go back. Which is, I understand, but I'm never for assimilation, not even that circumstance. But I understand why people do it. But it's just, or they already might have
Yeah.
bad mental processes, because you'd be surprised how many people watch cops while they're in prison. You'd be surprised. It is disappointing. But um, yeah, and SVU and fucking all the fucking crime shit, like, yeah. Anyways, but so I mean, I think when it really comes to like that stuff, we gotta think completely outside the box and think about, I mean, preventative first. And like first and foremost, preventative. And one of the things that prevents a lot of this shit, I'm gonna look at everyone and say this. I don't been head off, but um, look, is caring about people. Legitimately, is giving a fuck about people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because the people you don't give a shit about are also the people getting thrown in prison. One, because they're easy to victimize. Two, because they're desperate and have to do what they have to do to survive, because nobody gives a shit. That means emotionally, like you tell people, kids, for example, who are acting out, care about them, see how that affects. Because I bet you a lot of it feel from them feeling not cared about. You know what I mean? And they're children.
Oh, yeah.
And also reminder, most people who go to prison were in juvenile. Most people who go to juvenile go to prison. So because we didn't care about some kids, because we didn't care about some youth, we have a whole industry based off enslaving them as adults that started enslaving them when they were children. And then we justify that and think we're a good people in the society and live in a good society somehow. I don't know, but that's me.
I think part of the problem is, especially for some white people anyway, they don't want to see that because they don't want to admit that their lifestyle is based on a condition that somebody else has to suffer. Because they know if it was them, they wouldn't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: the oppression of other people is how they sustain the society they live in. They export their trauma onto other people. Because one, I'm a big believer in this, and it doesn't sound fun, but we're all like not say it's a lot of equally, but we all have like a certain amount of trauma we're gonna face in life. Period. It's just part of life. Whether not necessarily fun part of life, but it is trauma and pain. But what people can do and what societies have done is build bubbles where there's very little trauma by exporting more trauma onto the people. Whether it's talking about using violence to extract more resources, whether it's being able to push people that are impoverished away from the centers of where these privileged people live so that they don't have to deal with the consequences of having hungry people around them so they can live in fucking bubbles and not have to worry about a threat versus like the trauma being spread out more egalitarian and working on solutions to like make it more sustainable to be able to deal with the trauma that just naturally happens within life. But again, like I feel I'm big on like people exporting trauma is what's happening. People exporting violence, people exporting these things that would normally be shared by all peoples to some degree, but instead by exporting it. And also as a species, let's be 100. And I'm not trying to get like some weird comparing racial species shit because that's not what I'm doing. But as a species, as humanity, we also export it onto the planet and Earth extremely hard, way worse than we're suffering, even than any of us are suffering. And I'm not saying like to compete those, but like we're genociding animals left and right. We're genociding plant life left and right. We're genociding our planet, and we're all just exporting this trauma, and it goes from the top down, right? Like the richest people, the most powerful people, export all the trauma they'd ever face onto the rest of us, which ironically ends up being traumatic for them too, in a weird way. But they export that down, and then people like in what's so called the middle class, or the petite bourgeoisie, export it down, and then export it down. And I think the lower you are on that food chain, the less it's your fault. Um, but still, we all as a species share some degree of responsibility for it once it leaves our
Oh
species.
yeah,
What I mean? But I think the people at the bottom, to be clear, the masses and the people at the bottom share the least responsibility of that because we're not the beneficiaries and also not doing most of the damage. So
exactly. You and I are just kind of hanging out here. The Elon Musk, oh God, I cannot stand that guy. Um, is tremendously benefiting from all this stuff.
yeah, man, musky. I love musky.
I cannot stand it. I have that guy just literally almost makes me want to vomit once a day just thinking about it.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
this guy's everybody's because I know these guys are like, oh yeah, Elon Musk, he's so smart. I'm like, no, he's not. They're like, yeah, he is. I'm like, no, he's not. He bought into every company that he's a co-founder of, and he sued them to be like Tesla. He sued to be a co-founder. He didn't come up with anything.
yeah, I mean, no, none of these fools do. I mean, none of them. And the thing is, like, I don't care if you're talking about Thomas Edison. If you know about that nigga, he was the same thing as Elon Musk. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
the only thing that guy invented was a way to steal credit. That was the only thing that guy invented.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, literally, Elon Musk just taking, no, taking like right out of Thomas Edison's notebook. You know what I mean? That's really what he's doing.
Yeah,
Uh, it just looks cooler now than it did then because we're in a different time frame. So everything is sciencey, and so it looks like the future. And he's
yeah.
stealing he's stealing credit for the future, nigga. That's what he's doing. That's it.
I think what happens is we've started in this day and age. We started stop looking at people like that as idols. We started to slowly like peel back the layers of the onion and realized how skanky they are underneath, deep down inside.
Yeah, we gotta end the idol worship period though. Like, you know what I mean? We gotta stop seeing people as if they're like um some idol to be worshipped, put them on pedestals and shit, you know what I mean? Because they're all just people. Like I'm just not a nigga. Like, I'm just not a motherfucker at the end of the day. No matter how much like my channel blows up, no matter if I become a famous rapper, I don't care if I become as famous as Drake. It's not gonna happen. But I don't care if I become as famous as Drake, bro.
You
Like,
never know.
it ain't gonna happen. I don't got
Don't
the like.
say that, man.
I don't got the fucking what's it called symmetry. They like, you know what I mean? I don't got the
Well, I
symmetry.
don't have that.
I don't have symmetry. You know what I mean? But it's okay. You know what I mean? If I get caught falling, I'm cool.
Have you ever
But
seen my eyes?
shit, have you ever seen my nose? They look the shit.
No, 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 no. My eyes. Can you see them?
Yeah, see, they look pretty normal.
One's green and one's brown.
Oh, I can't tell that. Oh, but see that shit. That's the shit that you could like literally play on to get more like you know what I mean shit. But look, can't play on this. Look at this nose. Got too many fights as a
There's
kid.
nothing wrong with your nose.
You don't notice it's crooked. You can't tell.
Oh, yeah, a tad bit. It's kind of hard to notice, though, really.
Usually because I'm wearing my glasses. But if you look without my glasses, you could tell. Got a little too many
Yeah,
fights
I
as a
probably
kid,
could.
and it got popped around a little bit. You know what I mean? And so I have like a bunch of little like fractures all through my shit. You know what I mean? That never got really set, and so it was crooked. But I'll never have the symmetry. It's all good though. I don't need to have. I don't need to be that. I don't need to be that. You know what I mean? The thing is, the first and foremost, my goal and always goal has been for since I got out of prison at least, is to be able to build revolutionary movement and be able to find a way that we liberate ourselves. So for me, if I was to blow up as an artist or something, that's just a bonus, and it just gives me more resources to work with to be able to build the future I believe in. Right? As far as like, hey, that's all cool. That's just fun times. You know what I mean, that's just what I'd be playing around doing if we weren't at a point where we needed to save our future and as we
Yeah.
know it. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
do both a little bit, but at the end of the day, I don't think I'll ever be able to put the time that works in to be a Drake. You know what I mean? Because all Drake does is Drake does Drake. That's it. Build that brand, build that brand, build that brand. Dude don't even got enough time to write his own music. You know what I mean? Like, let's be a buck. Like, not only does he not write it, which is a big sin if you don't, as a rapper, it's a sin. It's a
Oh, really?
transgression.
I didn't know
It is
that.
the sin of all sins, not writing your fucking lyrics. But
Oh, I did not know that.
oh yeah, no. Like you could be a singer and not write your own lyrics, but you can't be taken seriously as a rapper and not write your own lyrics. I mean, hell, people do get ghostwriters. Don't get twisted, but like nobody that's actually like a rapper like is gonna take you fucking serious if you don't write your own shit. You know what I
I
mean?
did not know that.
That
Oh,
was,
speaking of
it's
rappers.
about because as a rapper, it's about authenticity. It's about who you are. So how can it be about who you are if somebody else is writing your fucking lyrics? You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
about who you are.
yeah.
It's
I
not
didn't
at that
think of
point.
that.
So about who you are, where you came from, your experiences. That's what rap is about. Like you're sharing that shit, the knowledge you've learned. That
Ah,
even if you're talking about wisdom and knowledge, it's knowledge you've learned along that journey. And if someone else is writing that, then that is not you. You know what I mean? And singers don't have to be
I,
there. That's not a whole different type of vibe.
oh, I
So,
did not know that. I did not know that.
so like, but my point is Drake can't even have the time to be a real rapper, right? He don't have time to write his lyrics. Well, he got to go in, hit that studio as quick as possible. Then he got to go build his brand. Always build his brand. Build the brand. Build the brand. And so he's really just a brand that sells like a music as part of his identity, right? Of that brand. And so the thing is
Wow.
like, what I mean? He doesn't even have the time. Like I would never really want to be that big, so I want to be that. Where like I don't really have
Yeah.
time to write my own lyrics. I mean, that's probably why Kendrick didn't put out a shit ton of albums because he wants to have time to digest, think, and process everything so he can put something quality out. You know what I mean? So he can bring something that hits, but also is true. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
probably a little bit of enjoying his money too to some degree. Because I'm not gonna lie, if he if you just work, you never sit back. So I know he probably spent some time with his family and shit or something like that. Enjoy the shit. And I'm not, don't get wrong, I'm not a capitalist, but at the same time, I'm not also not against find joy when you can, even if you're a wealthy person like Kendrick, especially
Yeah.
the bottom, like Kendrick's from the bottom. You know what I mean? I respect that. It's different than people who've been at the top and stayed at the top. You know what I mean? So, but I'm still not a capitalist though. I'm still not like, well, shouldn't
Speaking
have been
of
a first.
rappers, I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just wondering to mention. I wonder if you actually know who he is, guys. But he's an Indian rapper by the name of Broda V.
Nah, I never heard of him.
Okay. I tend to. I mean, I've listened to you, but I tend to. If I'm going to listen to music, it's from that part of the world because that's where I grew up, and hearing that kind of music kind of brings me back. So yeah, he's not too bad. Nothing against nothing in comparison to you. Obviously, you are far better than him. But
I'm not.
um,
I'm not trying to. I mean, I'm gonna compete in a fun way, but I'm not really competing like that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to. I'm
Oh,
only gonna be. I'm the only me, and he's the only him. So you know what I mean?
did you hear about there's this capitalist anarcho-capitalist rap? Did you hear about that?
Okay. Well, so it's fictional. We got that.
No, 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 no. It's not.
No, but it is.
Somebody put out a video.
I mean, I'm not saying the video don't exist. I'm saying it's based off of fiction. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's fictional.
Okay, yeah, yeah. It's
Anar-
based off of fiction.
Anarcho capitalism. That's fiction. There's to be very clear. There's no such thing as anarcho capitalism. That's not a real thing. They are literally cannot exist in the same place. Anarchy and capitalism can't exist in the same
Oh, I'm
space.
sorry, Mr. Yeah, you're right. I prefer to refer to it as magical anarchy because it's the only you can get it as magic. You can't. There's no logical reasoning behind it. So let me get this straight. You don't have a state, but you have money, but you have police, but they're not the state. But it's better how?
It's laissez faire.
There's a guy on.
That's all I tell them. Look up that word, laissez faire. You're not an anarchist in any way, shape, or form. You're laissez faire. So have fun with that.
Yeah, there's a guy who I was talking to EJ. I refer to him as a libertarian in denial, and he's like, but I'm not really a libertarian. I'm like, yeah, you are. You're basically you're thinking the ANCAP is going to work, and it won't, because the second you introduce money into something, and people have access to it and can hoard it, you have people who have it and people who don't, and that's it.
I mean, it's not just the money; it's like the power relations, right? So
Well, that brings it with it.
you know what I mean? Because it still believes in the structure of power relations. It just doesn't believe in the government being the say. Instead, it believes in like monopolies and like it thinks itself as anti-monopoly, but it really isn't. You know what I mean? Because it's about free trade. It's on that shit. You know what I mean? It's laissez-faire shit. It's not. There's no anarchy about that shit. So anarcho-capitalism is a fucking joke. They just don't understand the words they're using. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Like, and also the logic they don't seem to see is that their laissez-faire, their quote unquote anarcho capitalism will always lead to the same thing we're already in. Like this is a natural outcome of that. Like that's just what happens. You know what I mean? And so big government, big money, that's what happens.
All anarcho capitalism is just modern day feudalism with technology thrown in.
It's
Basically,
it's loud. Serfism.
it's just feudalism.
You don't think it's serfism? Like serfdom?
No. Serfs aren't a feudal system. I'm just saying it's the feudal system in modern day.
Man, it's just whatever it is, it's ridiculous. I mean, the fact that
No, it is. You and I would definitely be serfs, no question about it, any way whatsoever.
So, like, whatever it is, ridiculous. And I know that, like, materially, they would probably argue that I'm doing what they're talking about. I mean, but I disagree, right? Because I know that my YouTube is a business. I've said it a million times, right? But it doesn't mean that that's the structures I believe in, right? That means this is how I'm trying to adapt with the reality and the cards I have. You know what I mean? And so, and I'm trying to do something that I can actually at least somewhat tolerate, if not enjoy. You know what I mean? So, but the thing is, like, ideally, we live in a completely different type of society that does not function on that, and people get their needs met off top first and foremost, and then I don't know. I'm somewhere between, everything is free to, you trade some labor sometimes, you offer some services, what I mean? If you can, if you can't, you can't. But the thing is, especially now with all technology, there's no reason why we shouldn't have that. Like we could automate literally everything. and that and work out, right? But the thing is, now under capitalism, when you automate shit, that means people go without instead of being like everybody should have, which is what automation could be. Is everybody has, everybody can just have. We don't have to work. We can just live.
Yeah,
Like we don't want to work. Like no, if I don't want to fucking work, at the end of the day, I don't want to fucking spend my life working. If I'm creating, I want to create because I want to create without the expectation to have to get money. I just want to be like, okay,
yeah,
I'll create because if you think that me being pressured to get money makes me make better content, pressure to put out more and more often makes me make better content, or anybody, you're wild. Like
no,
you're
yeah,
wild.
no,
That doesn't make sense. If you can spend more
no,
time on a project, just make it more and more beautiful, more and more potent. Like for example, with using art as an example, then you're going to come up with better content. If you're not pressed for finances or resources, you can just really just zone in and get you at your best spot. Let's be real. I mean, you have to create. Don't get me wrong. You have to be on some
yeah.
creative shit and trying to put stuff out, but the time constraints don't help you necessarily. And maybe
Have,
expectations between your crew, if you're doing it in a crew, like okay, we're trying to get this about then, but it's different than if it's like based off market pressure. You know what I mean? So
have you seen the way some of the video game companies are treating people?
I'm sure it treating people like shit, but I haven't really seen it.
Oh, they are. They're treating them like total crap. Some companies are like literally making people work like not 24/7, but cranking it all the way out. Speaking of, as you were talking about, if you have to go by a deadline and you have to do a lot really quickly, and then they put the game out and it's like total crap. Like Cyberpunk 2077. I remember giving that back in the day when it was just pen and paper. Okay, I was really looking forward to the game. When I heard about it, I almost wanted to cry how bad it is.
Damn, I don't know. I want to ask. I haven't played it. I wanted to play it, but I haven't played it yet.
Well,
Shit.
I can't. I probably can't use it on my computer anyway. So
Oh yeah, my computer can't handle any type of shit like that at all. My computer cannot handle at all any type of video game. It's not happening. I mean,
yeah.
when I play video games, I'm going to start a gaming channel, maybe, possibly. I'm just talking out my ass right now. I mean, I technically have one. I just haven't used it in years. It was called Barefoot Brother, but Barefoot Brother specifically. But I was gonna, but the thing is, it's all off my phone. Like I record my phone because my phone plays games that my computer cannot process.
Ah,
Shit, like you know
yeah.
what I mean, like I couldn't play Dead by Daylight on my computer, but I can play it on my phone. You know what I mean? I can't play PUBG on my computer, but I can play it on my phone. You know what I mean? Because my computer's not strong enough. But you know, but my phone is like my phone also 2 years ago or a year ago, a little year and a half ago or something like that, was the newest Android at the time. A year and a half ago. It's nowhere near now, but I mean, it made sense for me because it's my camera too. So that's why I was like,
Yeah.
camera quality, camera quality, camera quality. So I got the best phone with the best camera quality. You know what I mean? So besides
And
an
what kind
Apple,
of
because
phone
I
is
don't
that?
have an Apple. I think it's a A20 or something like that, or some a Galaxy something like that. S
Oh,
maybe
Samsung.
S20. Yeah. I forget what technically it is. Well, actually, I can figure it out.
Oh, I bought a Samsung for my wife, and she did not like it. Oh, she did not like it at all.
Are they used to using Apple?
No, she had never had. She had used to get LG.
Okay, I lied. It's not an A20. It's a Galaxy A52. A20 was my old one, but
Okay.
A52. And so, yeah, man. I don't know. Yeah, I bought it all for my camera. For the camera, that's the main reason. That's like to do have better quality because it was still cheaper than buying an actual camera. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, and you get a phone on top of it. So
yeah,
what's wrong with that?
exactly. You get it. You get it for something that would, you get this cheaper than you can get a good webcam for. A webcam this quality right here would be like a
Yeah.
$1,000. This was like 700-800 bucks.
Are
So
you
like,
serious?
oh man, I mean maybe not now, but at the time, yeah, a webcam that like this quality would be like 1,000, 1,200 bucks. That should be wild.
Wow.
Like you get something for 300-400 that's okay, but like this is still better quality than those. You know what I mean? Like I don't
That's
know, like little
crazy.
webcams are trash. Don't buy webcams. Use your cell phone. Like don't buy webcams. They're not worth it. At
Okay,
least
thank you
I
for
mean
telling me that because I
I
definitely
mean
know I'm not going to do that now.
maybe YouTube it, but at least of a year and a half ago when I bought this phone, it was not worth it. I was like no. I was like no, because the quality would have been less. Like I mean, if I was to like switch cameras, I'm not gonna do it. It's like it's same. It's like same as yours, maybe worse, on this laptop. So yeah, but I trick everybody. That's why I look. See, I play tricks, right? So when I'm talking directly to you, I'm looking in your eyes. I'm actually looking at
Yeah.
myself, and when I forget to look at myself and I'm looking directly at you, I look like this, and so it looks like I'm not paying attention when I'm really looking directly at you. So that's the real trick because the cell phone's up here, the laptop's down here. So I'm like, when I'm actually having good eye contact with on a live stream, no, it's because I'm looking at my own eyes. I'm looking at myself,
Wow.
but
Wow.
it's hard because I want to look at you, but then I got so what I do try to do is try to like talk as I'm looking at myself to just the camera and like act like there's not a
Okay.
you here, like that there's not you here in front of me, like visible, but that we're talking on like the phone. That's why I try to imagine to keep myself having good eye contact, but I still suck at it because I can still see my peripheral view, like the motion of you moving around, so I end up looking down anyways. And then also I look down at the stream to see chat, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, but
Oh, wow.
that's
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for the tip on, yeah, because I was thinking about getting like a webcam, but I'll just use my phone. I'm probably going to have to get a new phone here in like about a year anyway.
hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, your phone's probably good enough though. Probably better already than your webcam, to be honest. Like, do you like pick up your phone and do this with it sometime? And I bet you, like, it's already better because webcams are.
Probably.
I don't know
Because I
why
use
they're like that. They're like really just not worth it. You know what I mean?
that doesn't make any sense. You think the smaller camera on the phone would be worse than a webcam?
Yeah, you think but it's just not. It isn't.
No, no, not at all. Not one single bit better. But
Yeah,
oh,
it's it'd be kind of surprising, but not really at the same time. Feel like I wonder if they're going to catch on that we're catching on. I guess maybe healthy people don't catch on, so they spend hell on a fucking webcam, and that's what it is. Maybe it's like nobody knows that like there's better ways to do it, like just use your phone. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
but iRune is free. Everybody who's watching, I don't know how many people are watching, but iRune, if you want to use a better camera, not pay out to ask for it, use your phone, attach it to your
yeah.
computer. iRune
But
app
if
on both phone and computer, you're good.
it's iRune, then wouldn't that mean it wouldn't work on an Android?
No, I got Android. Galaxy's Android. Or no, it's Samsung, huh? But yeah, it works. It works on Android. No, it's an
Okay.
Android, right?
Well, why don't
Samsung's
you
an
type the
Android.
name of that in the chat?
All right, yeah. Samsung is an Android. Android.
Okay.
They're not the. Uh, this last one was. I'm pretty sure this one's Android too. Uh, okay, make sure I'm spelling it right. Boom. But yeah, no, it'll work. It'll work on any phone.
I'll definitely try that then. But yeah, I've been doing some stuff on TikTok. Not a whole lot, but
Uh,
mainly just duetting other people who are people of color and stuff like that. But
yeah, I'm bad at doing TikTok. I've not done the
you're
TikTok very
bad at
well.
doing TikTok.
Yeah, I
You
don't
just
know.
haven't gotten around to it.
I have a couple up, but I like post like once every like 6 months. I was like, bro,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. I will definitely look that up.
yeah. I mean, that's why I was like, yep, okay. Once I found that, I was like, great. I knew there was a way, so I was looking up for. I just Googled. I just searched on YouTube, like how do I use my cell phone as a camera for my laptop, and then I found that. So yeah,
I
But
definitely, yeah, I'll definitely use that because, oh my
it would
god,
to have. I mean, I'm still learning too, but to have eye contact with the camera is going to be a difficult trick to get used to because especially when you're talking to someone live, your instinct is to look down. That's why a lot of times, especially early on when I first was streaming, it probably looked like I wasn't interested in what was going on, I wasn't paying attention, but I was actually looking at everybody. You know what I mean? But it looks like I'm not. And then when I am looking at people, looking at the camera where it looks like I'm looking at everybody, I'm actually not. I'm looking at myself. Like right now, I'm talking to you right now. I'm looking at myself because I know it's going to be perceived as eye contact. And then I'm trying to pay as much attention as I can with my peripheral, like seeing you shake your head or whatever, so I can realize what you're doing in reaction to me to the best of my ability. And then sometimes
I
I'll
like
down. Like,
I like what EJ said he did. He said I just wear shades so people can't see. So it's just that's kind of cheating, but
man, I mean, my
ah,
the problem was my glasses. You can see through my glasses. I need to get
yeah.
some Gucci shades. Like, oh shit.
Oh man, do you feel better
What do you mean?
just talking? Does that make you feel at least a little bit better?
Talking about better
Just
from
in
what?
general, that we've
Uh,
been talking.
I
Have
don't
you been
know.
able to relax a little bit?
What do you mean? I don't know what you're. I'm confused about what you're asking. Kind of. I mean, I know what you're saying. Feel better, but what?
I'm sorry.
In what context?
Sometimes the way my brain works, I kind of assume people know what I'm talking about. Earlier, I said if you were okay. And
Oh,
I'm just saying, I'm just asking now if you've been able to talk to at least feel a little bit better, feel a little bit more relaxed.
I've been cool the whole time. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just stressed out with the shit I was telling you about, but that's gonna be what it is. When
Yeah.
the government processes the paperwork, they'll process the paperwork, and I'll be able to drive again. But until then, I'll post it, I guess. So,
Yeah.
but luckily my org's dope, and they have my back, and I need they've been covering it, but we don't have like money like this, so it's kind of been digging a hole. We're trying to get some rapid response grants to see if we can help cover the cost it took, the toll it's taken on our org as far as financially. But you know, shit, uh, fuck the police.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. They just, I just don't see any use for them anymore. I really don't. I mean, when I was
never was
younger,
one.
I might have, but oh, you want to hear some bit of irony? I
But
almost became a cop
shit. Well, what made you want to
in the
become a cop?
military.
You want to
In
become
the
an MP,
military.
a military police?
Yeah, but get this, I was too short.
Hmm.
But a woman shorter than me could be a cop.
Man, my foster dad was used to. I mean, not when I knew him, but like used to be an MP back when he was in the military.
I
It's
bet
kind
he
of
was a
wild.
peach to live with.
Oh, he's cool. He's actually
Oh, he
cool.
was?
Yeah, he's cool. He was. I mean, his thing was. Uh, and I don't like the. I don't know how military police and regular police are different or same or whatever. You know what I mean? It's kind of like military police don't really
Yeah.
affect us. You know what I mean? Generally, as our average people that affect military. But I know basically when he talked to me about it a couple times, his whole thing was getting off and be able to like bust his fucking bosses, right? Bust people that were above him and like rank because he was the MP. So that's the only thing he was really talking about it is like he'd be able to like flex on people who were higher ranked than him because he was the MP. And
Oh, yeah.
so he was like that was his thing. I don't know. He was cool. Problem with him is he's super Zionist because he's also a Black Orthodox Jew, and he
Uh,
always wanted to be a part of the Mossad and shit and all that stuff like that. So he's like that was the problem really. But he was cool. I mean, honestly, he was one of the first people that really care about me, like as far as like especially I mean not the first, but like in like a fatherly manner, you know what I mean? Foster dad he was cool. I'm not gonna say he wasn't, but he had some really problematic beliefs for sure around specifically around Zionism. Uh, and I don't know, he was a complex person. You know what I mean? He was an MP at one point, but that he's like 50 something. So, but he's like in great shape because he's like a martial artist for like years. He used to be like he fought like Billy Blanks and shit. He was like second in the nation, the seventh of the world in like 1985 or whatever. He's always really proud about that. He has a little placard and shit. You know what I mean? And he was a complex person, man. I mean, he had one hand was like friends with people like fucking KRS-One. On the other hand, he was a Zionist. You know what I mean? On the other hand, he was a foster dad to foster kids because he cared, and it was a complex person. You know what I mean? People
Oh
complex.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think the one thing I don't really fuck with him is because of the Zionism, because I feel like we'll end up on the opposite sides of the line at some point. You know what I mean? Because of that. You know what I mean? Because I'm strong enough about like anti-Zionism. I'm like, nah, bro. Give Palestinians land back. Fuck that. Nigga, like what you talking about?
Yeah.
Stop their children. That's fucked up. You know what I mean? They're not out to get you. Stop the paranoia bullshit. That's not what's happening. You're out to get them. It's actually the other way around. Stop. Like, you know what I mean? But
You know how I discovered it? I discovered all about Palestine because one day I went through my grandmother's closet and she had one of her books from when she was a kid. And there's this place called Palestine. And then I looked at a modern map and I noticed there's this place called Israel, which happened to be the same place as Palestine. And I was like, wait a second.
yeah, man.
But I because I pay attention to the Middle East, there's a lot of stuff I've gleaned from watching the news and videos from that part of the world. Would you believe that the Israeli ambassador, I think at the UN, tried to claim that Palestine didn't exist because, quote, there's no P, letter P in the alphabet in Arabic. And there isn't. P does not exist in it. And anytime there's a, you need to say like Paris is pronounced with a B in Arabic.
Okay, so there is. So are you then with that logic, right? There's no state of Israel because there's no like fucking I in Hebrew. How about that? Because that's some dumb shit you just that nigga just said. Because and
Yeah.
and if you wonder how I know, is because again, my father was an Orthodox Jew and he was trying to convert me into Judaism. So I actually learned Hebrew a little bit. I don't remember it for shit, but I was learning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was taking Hebrew classes and shit. So
Oh.
I don't know it anymore. I know like a couple words, but I mean, and also like let's be real, like it's not the same as like speaking it fluently. The Hebrew classes aren't.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like how to read the Torah. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I was learning that shit, but yeah, there's no I, there's no any
You definitely are
vowels.
very interesting.
There's none of the vowels exist. Like that's not how it works. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but yeah, that's like a ridiculous. That's a ridiculous
Yeah.
statement. I mean, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Like, how do you like make two alphabets mean the same? Like, this is what, what, what? That's just different alphabets.
Yeah, I was like,
Different alphabets. They don't mean they're different. Of course, they're different. That's like saying there's no. It can't. Mexico can't exist because English ain't Spanish. Like, bruh, the fuck? Like, what you mean? Like, yeah,
that's my cat.
irrelevant. Shit.
There she goes. But yeah, no, yeah, it's just a BS argument. It totally is.
It's an argument that only gonna fall to the people who just don't think about what you just said. Because like, of course, there's no P. They're not the same alphabets. The fuck are you talking about? What does that mean? Shit.
Yeah, because in Arabic, Palestine is pronounced Philistine.
Is it? I know that. I know I was. You sure? I don't know about that. I'm not sure
Or
about that one.
Philistine. Yeah, it's pronounced with an F. What, cat? I'm throwing at your kitty crap.
Oh, I don't know any Arabic. Yeah, like I've heard it plenty of times. I can recognize it, but I don't know it. Oh no, it's F, Palestine.
Yep, Philistine. Yeah, I know because I'm trying to learn Arabic.
So yeah, I just looked up real quick. I was like, oh, I don't know. Fa- they're not Philistine. It's Palestine. Yeah, Palestine. So yeah, sorry, that's why it threw me off because Philistine is like some old biblical shit versus Palestine is okay. Okay,
Yeah,
see what you're saying. All right.
yeah.
Uh,
Just out of curiosity, is Hebrew right to left or left to right?
the opposite of us of English.
So it's
So
right to left.
yeah,
Okay. So it's the same as Arabic then.
yeah, yeah. They're the same. They're the same like that. You
Okay, I was just curious. I figured you know since you took it. So
Yeah, yeah. I just remember the opposite. I just can't tell direction. So like, it's opposite of us. That's
that's
all I know.
okay. I had
You
a
know what's funny?
dyslexic wife. I had a dyslexic wife, and she'd go. I would go. Don't say left or right to me. And I'm like, okay, your way or my way. Because she'd sit up, if she was the driver's seat, she'd be on the left side of the car, and I'd be on the right side of the car if I were a passenger. So I'd go your way or my way, and that she know.
See, now I know left and right, but if you say it certain ways, I have to think about left to right, right to left. It takes a second for me to like process what that means. So I'm like, wait. Yeah, no, I'm dyslexic too, so I get that. Um,
Ah,
but it's funny because people they because you read slow, right? Because when you're dyslexic, so like people think that you can't that you're not smart or something, or like I'm bad speller and I got bad grammar. So like you're not smart, like bro. Like intelligence is about perception and grasping concepts, not like memorizing shit. You know what I mean? And it's kind of wild because people just like get confused about spelling shit or grammar. Like you're not. That's one of my biggest pet peeves too in like grammar Nazis. I'm like, how do you guys really believe you're smarter? Like that. Why do you think that? What about that do you think indicates intelligence? Like, because communication is just like not uh, um, mandatory in any way in intelligence, right? You
no,
might have
yeah, it's not.
you might have trouble communicating it, like because if communication was mandatory to be able to do intelligence, then would we have if it wasn't for technology, would we considered Stephen Hawking intelligent? Probably wouldn't because he wouldn't be able to type that shit out and tell you what the fuck he's saying. But that motherfucker was intelligent as fuck. Not saying I agree with him like hella shit, like politically or something, but you
Oh
know what I
no,
mean? Yeah,
no,
but
but that
like
guy was smart.
smart as fuck, right? But
Oh yeah,
really, but without technology, you wouldn't be able to communicate it, right? Or so the same thing goes if you don't believe the technology that fixes like motherfuckers like dyslexia in process or being able to not be able to have rogue memorization, for example, then you weren't going to be able to tell they're intelligent because you're only basing it off this one little small factor that doesn't even really equate to intelligence or non-intelligence. Because there's a lot of people who have great spelling and grammar that are completely just not very intelligent at all. You know what I mean? But they can
oh
spell. They
yeah,
can spell great. They spell awesome.
oh yeah,
But grasping concepts, not so
oh
much.
yeah,
Not so much.
yeah. No, my wife had like 150 IQ, so she was smart. But
All
dear
right,
God, was she's a pain in the ass to live with.
well, I, I'm probably the pain in the ass because I'm
Well,
probably the pain
she
in the ass.
admitted she was. She
Uh,
flat out said, "I know I'm hard to live with."
nah, I'm probably the pain in the ass. I mean, here's the thing: is if the personality's match good enough, I'm not. But like, if they don't, like, I like I always challenge everything, and so it's like you just want to be arguing. No, no, no. It's just how I learn and process shit. It's like challenge it, and this is how I that back and forth is how I learn shit. If I don't do it, I can't learn. Like I want. It's not how I. Also, why I drive teachers crazy because I'm like, well, why is that? How come that's happening this way, not this way, or like, you know what I mean? And if you know, that's also how I decipher if someone knows what they're talking about or if they're full of shit too. Because if you can't explain your thought process and like how you got there, you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
and
I
I
mean,
wish I
maybe
could
you
find it
do,
for
but
you.
but most people don't live that way on average. Some people do, but most people they can't explain it, don't know what they're talking about. So man, we just been bullshitting. Shit, we didn't even talk about gun control.
I have that problem with everybody I talk with. Tangents are kind of a thing. Yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not a fan of gun control. I mean, I was when I was younger, but then I've learned so many things about how basically it would be employed, and that it's just no,
I mean
no.
it's hand in hand with slavery. You can't support gun control without supporting slavery. That's what it comes down to it. And I mean, this video I'm gonna drop is gonna go deep into that and talk about gun control and how it came from Reagan and the Ku Klux Klan and stuff like that. But how NRA were the original supporters of gun control, and
Yeah,
talks a little bit. I didn't really jump into NRA, but that's also a factor. I might have to put that in as an after note, actually. But those things. Yeah, I mean, gun control is just all it equals is more black and brown people enslaved, and the numbers support that. At least numbers that you can find. Because I was trying to find felon with firearm charges numbers by race, that you cannot find that. And I was like, oh, I
I
wonder why.
wonder why.
I wonder, like, but I'll tell you right now, Michigan people who firearm charges that aren't felons is 14.2 times more likely as a black person to get firearm charge, not being a felon, than white people are. So who knows what what a felon with firearm charges look like? You know what I mean? I want those numbers. I just couldn't find them anywhere. I was looking hard too. Fucking look.
I can't have a gun where I live.
Shit, man. That's just wow. People are ridiculous, bro. They just live in fantasy land, man.
Oh
I
no,
don't.
it's just because I live in a low income housing. They won't let me have one.
They, they live in fantasy land. I'm saying people like they won't let you have it because of like different ordinances and stuff of people who don't experience the struggle that like people who live in, like, for example, low income housing have. So you can't have a firearm, but where are you most likely to get jacked at, bro? Low income housing. You more likely to get robbed there. Because why? Because everybody's hungry. You know what I mean? And sure, we can fix that without guns. I'm saying, but like also, I don't know. That's the part of my point too. Is people who need guns the most are people who usually deprived of them, and that's
Yeah,
fucking wild. And then all these people who have hella privilege talking about, yeah, but this guns don't really protect people. Like, nigga, I know multiple niggas that are alive right now because they had a pistol on them. Like, they'd be dead if they didn't. So like, I'm not
guns
hearing that
don't
from that.
protect you.
Yeah, that's what people say. People,
Are they
the
not
so-called
aware of
left.
the U.S. Army?
Well, the
They
argument
should
is,
take all their guns away if it doesn't protect them.
I support that though. Take all the police and military's guns away, please. I support that. I support that action. I can get down with that action. Police, judges, military, remove all their guns.
Yeah.
Give them like foosballs and shit. You know what I mean? They can like run at the fucking enemy with a fucking a foam bat, like, play bopper and shit. But take their guns away. Let's do it. I'm down with that. But I don't know. Also, the whole thing about like that taking guns away will stop mass murder, and it's like, bro, there's bombs exist. Like, also,
Yeah.
Columbine was not a successful shooting, but a failed bombing. I actually said it in my video word for word, but that's reality. It wasn't. It was a failed bombing, and they shot people, but they were intentionally gonna blow people up. And we also talk about like Oklahoma City bombing, for example. That happened, no guns involved. The thing is, like, we don't think about all the different things. Then people go to street violence, right? And I'm like, cool, but you talk about like street violence and how like England has no guns, but then their stabbings, they be stabbing crazy, like, because it doesn't solve the root of the problem ever. But liberals live in fantasy world. Like, they live in a world that does not touch reality. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
just
Because you need to solve the root of the problem, not take something away because it's not going to solve the root of the problem.
prohibition doesn't work. We've said that, right?
Oh, no.
Gun prohibition is the same way. It doesn't work. Like,
I was watching a normal, in upstate New York, a normal broadcast. The people for the legalization of marijuana basically is what normal is, I think. And him and his buddy were done filming and went to a bar and started talking. This is back in the 90s when I saw it. This is way before I saw any leftist stuff. And there's a guy in the bar that saw them talking about legalization of marijuana, and he was laughing at them. And they couldn't figure out why. And they walked up to him and said, "Sir, why are you laughing?" And it turns out this guy, when he was a little boy, speaking of prohibition, he was one of the kids that delivered alcohol during prohibition. And he said, "I got access to more alcohol then than kids can now. And it was illegal back then. It didn't solve the problem of making it illegal."
When they said there were guns, that's all the problem.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about spree shooters and shit. I'm like, bro, that they don't have felonies or mental health issues. They have the guns. They can get the guns. With all the laws, you can still get the guns.
I don't know if it was Buffalo, but there's some kid that had like 10K worth of guns, I think, or something like that, equipment. It's like, where does an 18-year-old get that?
It's called white privilege. It's called economic privilege. It's called a lot of fucking things that the average person who's being prosecuted for having illegal firearms do not have. I'm just saying. And then I don't know, man. That should just be wild. People, they don't think it all the way out. They just have knee-jerk reactions, and then say it's common sense. The common sense gun control shit. That's a knee-jerk reaction. It's not common sense. It's not sit back, breathe, put away your fear, and then think about this thing. That's not what they do. You know what I mean? So
no, because one, thinking with fear is easy because it doesn't require thinking. But more importantly, most people don't want to think. That's one of the things that this is now getting back into my area of knowledge, into D&D. This is what I don't like about the latest version of D&D. It takes away thinking. Used to think back in the day. We actually had to really think about stuff. Nowadays, you don't have to. And I think that's scary because I think kids need to learn how to think critically. And that just does it. No school teaches it. Because if they did, we wouldn't be having the problems we do right now.
Man. All right.
You sound tired.
Yeah, I think I gotta call it and get some food. We've been had
That's
good little
okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm getting kind of hungry too. So
yeah, man.
Well, it was a great broadcast. It was nice talking to you there,
big VP or big villainous, whichever. You know what I mean? Also, if everybody's watching that wants to, please head over, subscribe to Overthrow Media if you got a chance.
Yes.
And yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. So yeah.
Yeah. We'll see you later.
Yeah. All right. See you later. Peace.
Yeah. But YouTube. Yeah. Bye.